No, we have great competition. We have a lot of guys fighting for time. We have a few guys that have played quite a bit with Kale and Damon and DJ. And we have a lot of other emerging guys, like Chris Omigi and Drew Trezilli and Ja'Cory Shepard, and then we got a couple of new guys like Trey Parmalee and Josh Ford. So I think we have a good room. Christian Matthews is battling. I mean, he's played some in the Wildcat quarterback system, prior, but we have great competition. We got good spirit, and it's a fun group to work with.
What's it going to take for those guys that are battling for time to sort of stand out and earn the time, I mean,
you're continuously to develop as a receiver. So obviously being able to get open, versus hard, tough press coverage, which is a lot of our defense is going to show us some here, and continue to develop your route running and your knowledge of the offense, your ability to run really good routes, and to just be a complete receiver. We talked from the first meeting with the receivers about complete receivers run good routes, complete receivers block, complete receivers have run after the catch, complete receivers know what to do, complete receivers are in great physical condition. So that's what's going to take, for guys to get it. There's a line, and you want to have as many guys as you can above that line that you can perform, that can perform in a game and play for you and help you win. And we're just trying to continue to work every day to see how many guys we can get above that line. And we're 3 days in, so nowhere, shape, or form are we in a position to determine any of that. It's just a consistent battle every day in a positive way that we're going out and going to work and trying to get better. And I tell the guys all the time, you either get better, you get worse, you never stay the same. So we're trying to be better today than we were yesterday.
With the three guys you mentioned, DJ, Damon, and Kale, not great size, not great height with any of them.
Kale has very good height for a receiver.
Does he? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Is it important to get a guy down the field with maybe like Josh's size or Chris's size?
Well, yeah, I think if you got a guy who's got size and speed and quick feet and good hands and all that, then that's the guy you want. But we're just trying to, within the framework of our offense, develop the players we have, continue to develop them, and then coach will find ways to use the guys we have and showcase their ability.
Can you talk a little bit about the differences between the three different wide receiver positions, and what you're looking for personnel-wise in each one of those positions?
Well, in the two receiver set, X and Z, sometimes you have tendency to put a bigger body at the X receiver position because they're the guy that is right on the line of scrimmage, and they're likely to have somebody right on them right away. So sometimes you look for a bigger body in that position. At Z, you can get away with maybe not as bigger a body as long as you got good quickness and good feet and some things like that. So in the two receiver set, that maybe would be the difference. In the three receiver set, now you're looking for somebody in the slot that can run some of those nuance routes, can work through traffic down the field. Doesn't necessarily have to be a bigger guy, as long as this guy with really good feet and a feel for the game and hands. He does have to block on the perimeter, some in that. And then the two outside receivers, usually you still have an X who's on the line a lot, and we have another we call the F out there, who can be a little bit, kind of in between the X and the Z guy. You like to have a guy with burst, but you don't have a guy that can win one-on-one situations and to be a good perimeter blocker, on our edge, outside zone stuff.
Speaking of blocking, wide receiver screen's been a problem for us, being able to handle the other team's corners the last couple of years. Do you see one of these guys emerging as being able to be a physical blocker?
I was pleased with our blocking in spring practice, and I felt like our guys showed good effort and worked at it and battled. And we've only had shoulder pads on one day here so far, and I thought we certainly spent a lot of drill time on it yesterday. Hopefully that'll continue to carry over to us being a good blocking group. We'll block downfield. We'll have guys that show good effort and are physical and understand the importance of blocking, and I'm certain we'll do a good job with that.
Coach Weiss has talked about on the defensive side of the ball, it's more important to get that first 22 is who he's talking about, because they're going to be rotating so many in. Is it the same philosophy with you at wide receiver? Do you expect a lot of wide receivers to play beyond those first three?
Well, we're looking to determine at a training camp is who would be the guys above that line that we can feel comfortable about putting in the game that could help us win. And once we determine what that number is, we don't, that number, who knows what that number could be, and once we determine how many guys can be above that line that can help us win, then we'll determine how they best fit into the pieces of as we put together the offense on a week-to-week basis.
As you mentioned, it's still early yet, but I mean, do you have a kind of timeline of sorts when you start to expect guys to cross that line, as you were
Well,
saying?
we'll just see how it goes, you know, and how it develops. Every day, you know, we're evaluating every day, evaluating our players and how they perform, what they need to improve on, what we need to improve on as a group. And every day, you know, it evolves. You know, guys can't waste a day. You know, take advantage of every opportunity you have, and that's what we're preaching with them.
Within this offense, is it necessary to have a go-to guy, or is it spread around enough that?
Well, we've had in previous times, you know, in this offense, you know, we've had tight ends catch a lot of passes, we've had receivers catch a lot of passes. I would think the backs certainly will be able to be a factor here. You know, we just got to. What we do is it's a personnel-driven system, and as we get through training camp, and as a coaching staff, we see where our personnel sits, and then coach will, as the offense coordinator, design a system that'll take advantage of the playmakers, whatever position they are.